Hello and welcome. So we are here, and so are you. So welcome. Last week we did a podcast with Lily. It's always great to get Lily here to get her perspective and to share thoughts and ideas. And yeah, so that was pretty great. So we have been, we think we may have a day locked down that we'll be able to do this consistently every week. So that's a praise. And so in saying that, if there's anybody out there that has a burning need to share something or to have a conversation or to talk or whatever, and you'd like to be a guest with us, we would absolutely love that. So just send a message or whatever, and we will
make it happen.
Yeah, it's super good. So we're just going to have a little kitchen table chat tonight. Corey and I started a devotional today, and through the Bible app, and the title of the devotional is Kingdom Marriage. And I went through the first day, and my mind is blown a little bit. Not because I don't agree or because I don't know. I guess it's because I didn't see things from that perspective. So to give you a little idea of what it is, it talks about the origin of marriage. And it says that if you want to have a healthy marriage, the first thing you must understand is that marriage is God's idea. And because He created it, we must go to Him for its definition and understanding. That means that when your marriage, whatever its origin story, is brought under the rule of God, your relationship can flourish and become all that God intended it to be. It says that a kingdom marriage is a covenantal union between a man and a woman who commit themselves to function in unison under divine authority in order to replicate God's image and expand His rule in the world through both their individual and joint callings. The part that blew my mind is that we're going to discuss is it talks about marriage is not merely a social construct, nor is happiness its goal. And that is the part for me that I was like, what do you mean? Because
I believe your words were, that is wild.
Well, because when I know that when we got married, we were in the world, worldly, doing worldly things. God wasn't even a consideration for us. So, in thinking about why I wanted to marry you, a lot of things come to mind. Marriage is just a natural thing that you do when you find somebody that you love and you're going to be with and you want to share your life with. And ultimately, marriage is, I wouldn't marry you thinking I'm going to stay married to him even if I'm unhappy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you said, I'm going to marry you, and no matter what that looks like, but we do say that in our vows, I guess. Well, we didn't because our vows were a little different, but, in sickness and in health.
I wonder if because when we got married in our relationship, like, I don't want to say our relationship got better because it's always been pretty good, but when we got married, something
Changed.
Something different happened with us. And I wonder if we were unconsciously doing what God wanted us to do without knowing God at the time.
Yeah.
Because even though our vows were lyrics that I forgot, sadly, and like we took it seriously.
Yeah.
Like our marriages, we take it very serious, and I think because we take it serious, it's the easiest part of our life.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I just think, like, looking back, I wouldn't have even wanted to marry you if I thought that I would have to endure unhappiness. Does that make sense to you? Like, if I, in my consideration to marry you, I had full faith that you were going to be a good husband and that you were going to love me. And like, I'm not saying that, everything is perfect, because clearly nothing is ever perfect, but the reason that we've always worked so well is because we want to make each other happy. And because if you made me unhappy, I don't know how to explain it so they understand. If you made me unhappy, why would I want to stay married to you?
I don't know.
And then, like, I'm not saying that that's even what this says, but as I'm trying to make my brain wrap around the statement that happiness
isn't the goal.
Isn't the goal. Because when we got married, that was my goal. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That was literally.
Live happily ever after.
And so, like, now that I've became Christian, and now that I am fully 100% sold out for Jesus, I can understand why happiness wouldn't be the goal. And I can understand what the Bible says about the things that it says. Because in Genesis it says that God created all the animals and the fish and everything else. And he knew that it was good, but he saw that it wasn't enough, basically, for the man. So he put the man to sleep, he took out his rib, and he created a woman, which is a helpmate for the man.
Mm.
And, like, so I can understand, I don't know, I can understand that, happiness is ultimately a byproduct of what we're doing. But in order to have a kingdom marriage, from the understanding of what we read, it would be, even right now, you and I, our goal isn't happiness. Our goal is to use the gifts that God has given us, to use the foundation of our marriage
To build the kingdom.
to build the kingdom. You know what I mean? And that may mean that we're not always happy. We have hard times. We have, so I can understand it. It's just a wild concept to me when speaking about marriage, that happiness is not in the main part of the equation. You know what I mean? And it's hard probably for me to understand, because I had a relationship before you, as you had relationships before me. And why are we not in those relationships?
Those didn't count.
They counted. But we aren't in them because we were unhappy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's a billion other reasons, but the big reason is we weren't happy.
Yeah, that's the simplified version.
That's just, yeah. And so, like, it's such an interesting concept. And maybe I'm the only person in the world whose brain is like firing a billion fireworks in the sky. Like, let's dig into this, and what does this mean? Like, because the question is, how does making happiness the goal of marriage create problems in one's marriage?
Well, if you're trying to make somebody happy, like, you're never gonna always succeed.
Right.
Like, I mean, I try my best to make sure that you're always happy and everything's good, but the reality is it's not always the case.
Yeah. Well, and also I think that when you get saved and you start walking with Jesus, and you're remaining in him and he's in you, and the Holy Spirit is living inside of you, then your happiness no longer comes from the same place that it came from before. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, you're not, it's different. And so I feel like I've been on a journey as far as marriage goes, as far as him taking me through changing myself to be a better wife. Not that that's not saying I was a bad wife before, because I don't believe I was. But now I'm different.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not, I still have my moments. But, and so I also think that part of that is like, if happiness can be a problem, because if I came home and I'm having an off day, or I'm hormonal or whatever, just whatever, and I'm like, I'm unhappy, I don't want to be with you anymore. If you don't stop doing this, we're not going to be together. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Sure.
you know what I'm saying? So like, I know that's not really what it is, but it is. If our goal is to be happy, then that means that the things you do that I'm unhappy about, I can bounce. I can be like, I'm done with this. Whereas if my goal is to build with you and to grow with you, which is ultimately what we're doing, then when I'm unhappy, then I have a conversation with you and I say, this isn't making me happy, and we talk about it. And it may mean that sometimes some things I have to compromise. You know what I mean? Or some things you have to compromise, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think that if we focus on just being happy, then ultimately we're missing out on so much more.
Yeah, and well, like you were saying, we now get our happiness from somewhere greater than ourselves.
Yes. And even when I was living the life and you were not, and you said to me not that long ago that there was a thought in your head, like, what's going to happen to our marriage? Is this what's going to destroy our marriage? Because she's churchy, she's becoming a square, and I'm still this guy, and I'm not ready to change or do, or whatever. So there was a time where we were on opposite sides of the street.
We weren't equally yoked.
No, we were on opposite sides of the street. And it was trying, like you just revealed to me not that long ago that it was trying for you, but I sat in my selfish little focused on me bubble. Like, you don't understand how hard this is for me, because I can't share God with you. Like, you're my person. And when I get excited about something, you're the first person I want to know. But if you don't care about what I'm talking about, that makes it difficult.
Right.
So I guess
that's exactly, that's the opposite side of the coin, but exactly how I was feeling, because I was living worldly, but like I had just started this rock and roll band finally after so many years of wanting to start one. And when you were worldly with me, it would have been something that we enjoyed together.
Right.
And then I started this band, and you were in church all the time and completely in love with Jesus, and you wanted nothing to do with this band or me in it or anything I was doing, because I was living in the world. And it made me question, like,
what's going to happen?
What's going to happen to this marriage? Like, how can we continue like this? Because we were slowly drifting apart at that time.
Yeah, I think so.
Not in like an unhappy, unhealthy way, but like your wants and needs and loves were changing, and mine weren't on the same
page.
Like, we had nothing in common. It was like,
yeah,
it was difficult. It was hard to hang out with each other.
Yes, that's just it. And the premise of our relationship has always been we've been best friends. So when you and your best friend don't have anything to talk about because you don't share common, you know what I mean? And then I remember, like, praying about it, and like it was, I don't want to say this. When I say I'm going to serve you, then I feel like it's weird, but ultimately that's what it was. Be a good wife to you. Make sure that you're happy. Appreciate the things that you do. And in learning about marriage when under a God, like God is first and you're second. And it should be the same in your life. God is first and I am second. And we are living the way that God has called us to live and doing the things that God has called us to do. But at that time, it was just me. And so I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I can imagine the first time I told you that God comes before you was probably like wild.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, yeah, what was it you said? Oh, God loves you more than I do. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, it makes sense now, but at the time I was like, impossible.
Right? Right. No, I think it was God loves me more than you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is crazy. And so throughout that process, though, I remember, you know, it. Naturally, I want to condemn you. Like, that's that's a really terrible thing to say, but even reality right now, if I see you or if you do something that I'm like, it doesn't really line up with the word, I immediately want to condemn you and be like, bro, we're one person. You're making me look bad here. You know what I mean? And that is really hard. But also, like, learning to be married under God as opposed to be married the way we were. Like, it may have worked. It may have worked for forever. Who knows? You know what I mean? Because ultimately we love each other, we respect each other, and at the end of the day, we're there for each other. But like being in a relationship that is under God is different. It's completely different. And like some of our conversations even now are like, well, what did God say? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's God's take on this? We have to ask God what we need to do. Because He needs to lead us. When we dove into, the money and switching that all around, we prayed before, like, be in the details of this and let us be what You want us to be. And I think that ultimately the picture of a kingdom marriage is just that, doing what God is asking us to do. If that means that, your band plays Christian music or, whatever somewhere, it's to show people Jesus in a way that I wouldn't. Like, I like to, I don't want to say teach because it's a weird whatever, but I do. I love to share information. I love to give information, and I love to dig into things, and I like to explain things. And where you're like, I just want to play guitar. You know what I mean?
I just want to play music and talk about music and
Yeah.
think about writing it, and
Think about writing.
I just want to, yeah.
Yeah.
I could talk music all day with whoever wants to listen.
Yeah. But and I don't know, like, statistically, I don't know. That's a good question. What the statistic divorce rate is. You know what I mean?
I bet it's up there, especially as the world keeps going in the direction it's going.
Well, it's easy to get divorced. It's easy to.
It's easy. It's just like appliances now. They don't make them to last anymore. Everything is replaceable. So where somebody fights and argues and they're like, I'm done with this. I can replace you. Nobody wants to put in the work anymore. Where it takes to work out a problem and grow together. They just want to replace with the next one in line because they think the grass might be greener.
Because they want to be happy.
Yes.
They want happiness, true happiness. But until you find God, until you walk with Jesus, you don't have that anyway. So that's why marriage is, why I think that marriage, the goal isn't happiness. It's a natural byproduct. Because I'm not unhappy. You know what I mean? So it is a natural byproduct of having a kingdom marriage. But it's exactly like you said. People are replaceable. Things are replaceable. If you don't do what I like, I'm just going to bounce. If this is going to take work, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where happiness can get you in trouble in a marriage sometimes. Like if you're thinking literally that your marriage is going to give you the happiness and the satisfaction that you need for everything, because it doesn't. I mean, we can fulfill a lot of needs and we can fulfill a lot of happiness, but ultimately there's more. Because before I started going back to church, our kids were raised. Okay, we were on the verge of having children that were 18. Both kids were 18, not out of the house, but not required of us anymore. I had a job that I worked really, really hard to get, that provided for us to live comfortably. So we were at a point in our life that we had been searching for and striving for the whole time. Because we were the jerk parents who were like, oh, we got 10 years, 3 days, 7 hours, 14 minutes left before we're free. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like it was. And so before I started going to church, we were on the cusp of that ideal, or whatever, I'm air quoting, happiness, because that's what it was. That was ultimately what our goal was, to get to this point, and then we were going to be happier than we'd ever been before. And what turned out that there was something missing inside of me that was preventing me from enjoying that happiness, or whatever. And then so I started going to church, and so that piece that was missing was God. And so when we're searching for happiness, but we're doing it in something other than God, I don't want to say it's in vain, but it really is. Like our happiness is found in Him. Our everything that we do is for Him. I mean, He put us here. He put Adam here, and He put Adam in charge of everything. The men, the woman, the animals, the whatever. And as, after they sinned and then your population started, it became in more and more and more and more people. And then by the time Jesus came, it was, there are people out there lost and broken who need God, and they've strayed far away. Jesus is coming to give the ultimate sacrifice so that people can find God again, that people can come to Him broken and, dark and whatever that looks like. And so as a husband and wife who are Christians, it's not, our life purpose is not to just be happy, go to church on Sunday morning, come home and watch football, and then live our life out the rest of the week. Our purpose is to build His kingdom, to do it together, and according to this, using our different callings. God purposed us to be together. And so, like, I'm excited now that I don't have to, like, try and make you happy anymore, because that's not the goal. Just kidding. Oh, time to do your own laundry. It ain't about you being happy.
Man.
Right. No, but for real, like, it was a wild concept to me to read, happiness isn't the goal. I understand, but like, it makes me not concerned, but feel extremely blessed that I am happy with you. You know what I mean? That there aren't things problems that we have, or things that we have to work through. We're extremely blessed in that aspect, because I don't imagine that in the real world, with two different personalities coming together, any marriage, any two people are different. They've been built different. They've been conditioned different. They live different, And we do live in a world where happiness is the most important thing, you know? Live your truth. You do you. Your feelings matter. And our truth is, no, I'm not. I'm living his truth. My feelings don't matter.
The Bible doesn't care about your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, he does. He does care about our feelings, but when you're purposed to do something, and we are purposed to do something. There is a purpose for all of us here on earth. When we're purposed to do something. So like we're purposed to do something, and I think that God specifically chose us to be together for his plan, his purpose. And we're, like I said, we're blessed that we're happy, and we don't have to work super hard at it,
Mm-hmm.
But like, who knows what our purpose plan is or whatever. Maybe your band is going to be really, really big, and like you will be your promoter or your.
That's a lot of pressure.
Well, I'm just saying. But
It would be cool though to
but
utilize my passion to bring people closer to
Yeah.
the kingdom.
yeah, absolutely. It ultimately is pushing back darkness in whatever, and bringing the light in whatever way that you're called to do. And if they're for you, if it's guitar, and I don't want to say, I don't know what my calling is. I don't know. I know what I like to do. Like I said, I like to explain and talk, teach is really the word. But like, I like to do that. Like if I'm telling you something and I can see that it makes sense and you understand, like I get joy from that. So, who knows that I'm just going to be your announcer. Like your band will play and I'll just be like, hey, these guys are going to come play, and I'll, talk about some scripture or something that is awesome. And, but I mean, who knows? But ultimately that's what that is. That's what a kingdom marriage is we know that we're here to build his kingdom. That's our mission, and that's our goal, and happiness comes from that.
In a way, we're kind of trying to do that together right now, doing this podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Really. I mean, because this brings us both joy, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Corey told me last week that he really enjoys just listening to me and somebody else talk about things as opposed to him being a commentator.
I'm just not a good speaker, and like your words flow and you keep it moving, and I get stuck in my brain, and I'm like, I don't need to say that, because what if it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, so I mean, I enjoy speaking and having conversations and learning and things like that. And that might not be what you do, but I think you're right. Like we can fit together, and we can figure out a way that together, we can make a difference. Because that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is show Jesus through us. Be the light. And sometimes it's not cramming Jesus down someone's throat. Sometimes it's just living the way we live and being who we are. And people see Jesus through us.
I don't want to say a lot of people listen to this podcast, because I don't really know who all listens to this podcast, but I know a couple people listen to it that aren't churchgoers and aren't necessarily believers, but they know us from before.
Right.
So, that's another way.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at...
Yeah. Just our testimony in itself, who we were to who we are.
Yeah.
And who we're trying to be more like Jesus, and to, focus everything on God. And I think that, like this devotional, it did blow my mind when you said happiness wasn't the goal, but not for the reason of I think happiness is the goal, but I think because I just never thought about it like that. Like I never thought about the reason why, of us being married, or that we have a bigger a bigger purpose. Our marriage itself has a bigger purpose, a bigger, calling.
Bigger than just us,
Yeah, yeah,
which most people I would assume when they get married, they're like, oh, us.
us. Yeah, yeah. But really, it's who we are through with God and what He's entrusted us to do with our time that we have here, a short time. What can we do to grow His kingdom and to spread His message and to make disciples and to do the things that He's called us to do? That mean we won't have bad times? Probably, I doubt it. So there's always bad times. It is what it is. We live in the world, But it's pretty interesting, and I don't think. I think that, like I said, that happiness is a healthy byproduct of what we're doing. What? Oh,
I can hear the rain.
it's raining. Sorry. Yeah, so we, and I think that in our marriage, since we both became, as committed, that it's been more of a growth process for both of us to grow and to learn and to be different and to do things differently and to have a different mindset when we do things. For instance, money was, are we being a good steward of God's money? Because ultimately He's entrusted us with this. So are we doing what He has asked us to do?
That, and we're doing it together.
Yeah.
And, it's me, you, and God.
Yeah. So, God is in charge of our lives now. We go to Him about everything. And so it does make a difference. So our pursuit of happiness is not only that we're happy with each other, but also that we're happy with the responsibility that God has given us. We're happy with ourselves for doing what He's called us to do and asked us to do. And it makes a difference. Like I don't even know if there's a good way to explain what, the changes that we've made. Or I can't speak for you because men, if you're listening, this is a plug-in for all the women in the world. We don't know how to read your mind. We don't know what you're thinking. We don't know what you're feeling. And we would love to be welcomed into your sacred brain space sometimes. Because for me, I know that this journey that God has taken me on in marriage is different. Like, to be different for you. That my marriage isn't just for the satisfaction of me. It's not just for my happiness, just for my peace of mind, my well-being. That ultimately my marriage is for you and my marriage is for God and all of those things. And that's the difference. And what that looks like on a day-to-day basis differs probably, because you like it when I cook dinner and I hate cooking dinner.
I love it when you cook dinner.
Yeah. And but that's a way that we're growing and learning and doing different things. So it's pretty cool. And I'm now I'm kind of like, what's next in this Kingdom Marriage devotional? It's pretty thought-provoking. Like, those are the things that I love, things that make you think outside of your normal thinking process. That's pretty much where I'm at. Yeah. So sorry about our dog a minute ago anyway. She's like half raccoon or something. When she fights with the other dogs, she sounds like a raccoon. She's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty cool stuff. Like I said, this is just a kitchen table chat about the devotional we started today.
We got 4 more days to go.
Yeah.
It's a short devotional.
Yep. Yeah. And it's by Tony Evans. And I have a book by him actually called Kingdom Purpose, which I've started. I haven't finished, but it's really thought provoking too, and like changes your perspective on how you see things. Like we can go to church every week. We can be devoted churchgoers and we can help out in the church and we can do all the church things that we do. But ultimately, if we're not pushing his light, if we're not showing Jesus through who we are and through how we live, we're fulfilling our purpose. We're not fulfilling a kingdom purpose, and really that's why we're here.
Right.
That's why we're here. So anyway, like I said, if you have something burning you want to discuss, it looks like the day of the week for us is usually Mondays. So if you're free on a Monday evening and you want to talk about something, we look forward to it. There are some topics that people have asked us to do that we have purposely put off. So if you're listening and you've given us a topic that you wanted us to discuss, there's two things. We're still learning every day. And so in order to talk about something specific, we want to be experts about it. We want to have, and then
at least have a good understanding.
Yeah. And then there are also some that are, I don't know what the word is. Too edgy for, for a conversation on the air that teenagers listen to and stuff. So, but, we love kitchen table chats, and you're welcome in our home anytime. So thank you for listening. Check out this devotional if it ever it tickles your fancy or whatever. So far, so good. We're only in day 1, and we're like, what? I was like, what? This is wild. Let's go. So, yeah. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have a really great week, and God bless you.